This your boy Mookie, and this is Behind the Mic.
Tell me what you know about me. Tell me what you heard about me. You don't even know me. Stay hating on me, but you can walk in my shoes. You can walk in my. You can walk in my shoes. You can walk in my. Tell me what you know about me. Tell me what you heard about me. You don't even know me. Stay hating on me, but you can walk in my shoes. You can walk in my. You can walk in my shoes. You can walk in my.
So when I started out, music was never like something that was I seen as a career. It was never my first focus and stuff. So it was about 2014 after talking to my home fam and telling them that I'm thinking about stepping outside my comfort zone and doing music. It's like you should do it because you never know who's gonna rock with you or what impact it's gonna have. You never know unless you try it, basically. And so after that, I remember searching and looking for ways to get it out, and I came across SoundCloud, and that's like the first platform. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. So I made my first song. It was a remix to Just Kicking It by Escape. That was the first song that I made and put out. And going into that, it was just fun. It was never, I'm gonna make a career out of it, because, be honest, didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what I was stepping into. So when I made Just Kicking It, looking back, the quality is horrible. Like, it's horrible. I don't even know why I put it out. But that's the thing you have to understand. Like, when you first start something, it's not going to be the best, because it allows you a chance to grow and look back and say, this how far I come. So looking back now, I can say, wow, that's how I started. This is where I am now. So the response I got from that was crazy. Like, I had people that was rocking with it. Of course, you got people that don't. But from there, I just went on releasing mixes, and it became known as Mook Mix. And so that was like the big thing, was the Mook Mix. So I ended up dropping a mixtape called Mook Mix. It was just a mix of song, you know. Had some people that vibe with it. Some people hit me up and be like, you know, I rock with your music, you know, you should make more. Then others just weren't feeling it. And so I started to take a step back from that, because it started to feel like, okay, some people, you know, when it feels like people are laughing at you and not with you, you know, so in that sense, because I was always the shy kid, and this was different. And so I remember one person, I guess because what I was doing and stuff and more attention was on me than them, it was like a jealousy type thing. But that was never my intent, because I was just doing it for fun and just stepping outside my comfort zone and exploring new options and stuff. So I remember, I think after that, I did a few original songs that I ended up taking down because I just wasn't feeling it and stuff, and I started stepping back. But the thing about music, like, no matter how hard you try to give it up, or you just like, I'm not gonna do it, if it's meant to be, it's gonna pull you back. And so in that case, that's what happened. I would step away for a few weeks, and then boom, I'm back at it. Or boom, this. I remember going off to college and just sitting there chilling with my homeboy, and then somebody come up, it's like, oh, you gotta be making music and putting it on, you know, SoundCloud. And so when you're getting recognized from people who not even from the same area or same part of town you from, you start moving different, thinking different. I got hit up. I remember being at a show, my homeboy, and then getting a message like, oh, I see you with so-and-so, whoop-de-whoop. I had to tell my friends who you were, because they didn't know who you were. And this one person that, like, I wasn't really cool with. We weren't really talking like that. And from there, I remember just being in my dorm, just making songs. I'll give people shout outs in songs and stuff. It was crazy. But on the other hand, I had people who was, still jealous or just come off like, okay, why is he doing this? And the thing about me, the quote that I keep with me every day is you're always gonna be a student, always be willing to learn. And so I don't mind the constructive criticism, but some people, they just don't know how to give it. And some people just think that, just want to voice their opinion. Some people just, people just being people, basically. So from there, it was just, I started slacking back from doing the movements and stuff. Because I would release one, like, 3 times a week, or, like, constantly and stuff. So I was like, no, I need to slide back. I remember after that, I wanted to change it up. So I wrote this one song called On With Me. And that's the first song I released on Spotify, Apple Music, and all other streaming platforms. And it was different because now you're reaching out to different people, because SoundCloud, I share it and I got people locally and stuff, unless they share it. Now it becomes, okay, a shift. So that was the first song I did, and then I released another one called Secure the Bag. And it's two different styles. You got one's more of an R&B and one's more rapping. And so I remember getting a notification that somebody bought my song, and it happened to be one of my homeboys. And it's crazy because he's the only one who really bought it. Even though I knew he probably didn't listen to it. It was just the support and stuff. So that's when the shift took place of, okay, now let me take a real step back and start learning, I guess you would say. So I started studying the greats like Babyface, Devontae, B. Cox, Dallas, and just seeing like their processes and how they came up and started doing music and started writing stuff. And so by that time, I linked with my cousin, and he was an upcoming producer. And so we linked, and I remember the first day we was in the living room of my aunt's house, and we had it blocked off, just making beats and music off the home entertainment center. And that was crazy, because just going from that to building a whole studio in the room, from entertainment center to, oh, we got some cheap little monitors, to, okay, now we got like some quality stuff. It was crazy. So we worked on this one song, and I remember him making the beat. He was like, just right to it. And it was one of those songs that, as a songwriter, you look forward to, because it's not forced. It's not something that, okay, I gotta think hard, or I'm just trying to make words come together. It was a song that wrote itself. And so I remember like going through the hook, and it just flowed. And so it was like, okay, we got some of this, and it was just simple. But he ended up losing it because he rebooted his system or whatever. And so that was the only song we ended up like recording and making, but he lost it. So from there I went on to just still writing stuff. I would go over there before I head back to college. So I'm there till about 12, 1 o'clock, and then gotta get up and go to college, go to class the next morning. Or on Fridays when I didn't have class, I'm there. And so it was just, we were just locked in and stuff. And that's the one thing, like, first getting in, first learning, it was like, I think it was Sonny Digital. It's like, you need an engineer. someone who's gonna understand your style and how things, how you operate. And that's one of the first things you need, engineer. Besides a lawyer, get you an engineer. And so, what better person to have somebody that you grew up with, somebody that's family that you on with. And so, we still locked in with that, with music. So from there I went on to just writing, helping other folks and stuff. I got a call from a homeboy who went to high school with. He was telling me he was getting into music, and so he needed, wanted to sit down and chop it up. So I go chop it up with him. He's telling me how he was doing poetry and how, rapping is just like poetry and how he wanted to move in that direction. And he was getting ready to go to a school, a liberal arts school and stuff. He was gonna play football and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, we can definitely link, definitely do something and stuff. And 3 months later, he was killed. And so that kind of shifts you, because it's not only as an artist, like, okay, you seen the potential as an artist. This is like a friend, somebody you knew, somebody you grew up with. So that kind of hurts and stuff. So from there, went on working on this project for another artist. He was doing an EP. And I was thinking to myself, well, I'm helping this artist do an EP. Why don't I put together something? And so at the time, I had friends going through breakup and stuff. And I remember talking to one of them. And I was like, man, like, there's a lot of broken people in the world, broken females in the world. So I wrote a song called Back to You. And it was basically like having a broke female get back to, not 100%, but back to that place where they're like, okay, I'm okay with this. Because, getting back to what you was is never going to be the same. So I was like, get you back to a place where, like, you're not worried about that no more. So it took about 3 weeks to write that song, because I didn't want to force it or rush it or nothing. But that was the song that I knew I had something, because it was just special. I remember just sitting one day and a verse came to me, like, they say time heals wounds, but it don't erase the past. And that was like, out of the whole song, that was the one verse that I felt like made a difference into the song, just the way it flowed in. So from there, I was like, I'm gonna put this EP together, release it in the fall. Fall came, it never happened. And so you kind of feel discouraged, because here you are working with other artists and writing for other artists, and you still like unknown. And the good sense it was, if I write this song for this artist and put a little of how I feel or what I'm thinking in it, nobody's gonna know it's me. But if I'm doing this song, I want to project myself as this way, so I might not say this word or say that. Because if you go back and you listen to my song, I never, used the B word. I never, in the songs that I have out, you wouldn't see the B word. But if I'm writing for another artist and I know that's how they talk, then yeah, you're gonna leave that to suggestion up in there. But the EP never came, and so it kind of got put on the shelf and on the back burner type thing. And so in that instance, like, what do you do? And so you have a lot of doubt of, do I still do this? Do I give it up? Like, what's my next move? So entering into 2019, I think that was like the toughest year. Because I started dealing with depression and anxiety to the point where I didn't feel like me no more. I would go to class, come back and just get in bed, and do my work, wait till last day before it was due to do my work and stuff. And I think people around me, they started noticing the change and stuff. I would isolate myself, not want to do stuff. And I remember thinking to myself, this got to change. And so I started slowly building myself out of it. But then, like anything else, things go from bad to worse. And so in that instance, lost my grandfather. And so you feel with emotion, like anytime you lose a loved one, you always gonna have that emotion. So I remember having to go to where my grandma and them stayed and driving there and stuff, but you still trying to be strong for everybody around you. And so in that same time, got more news that my brother had been transferred because his case is picked up by the feds. So now you're dealing with two different types of emotion and stuff. And usually that makes for a great song. It's like when you in that zone. But for me, I was closed off. Like, music wasn't my focus, writing and stuff. And I never was that vulnerable, that open in my music like that. And so, dealing with that emotion, then turn around the day after, buried my grandfather, to have to go to a wedding and be cheerful. So it's like, how do you handle those type of feelings, those type of emotion? And it would probably make for a good song, but that's not just where my head was at the time. I think the thing that grounded me and not made me as down or just made me keep going was the person I was talking to at the time. And I think she played a pivotal part into shaping me into the artist that I've become now. When you meet somebody and you know it just feels right when somebody makes you feel the way music makes you feel, you know that person is special. And with her, it was like I could be me and not just try, like didn't have to try hard. And so it was days that I would go on being on the road for 6-7 hours and come back. And we'll come back to my place just to kick it with her because nothing else seemed to matter. Like all the problems and all the worries, just nothing mattered because it was just straight vibes and stuff. And then stay there till about 3 in the morning, then leave and go back because he had to get up early in the morning to do some more stuff. And so those were like special moments because not only that, it helped you clear your mind and stuff, and then that person pushing you to, okay, be great, or that, in that sense. To me, it was just like the right person, wrong timing. Because I was always gone, I was never home. And so, I think sometimes we let ourselves get in the way of our own happiness, our own joy. And I think that's kind of what happened dealing with the anxiety alone and starting to overthink and being overthinking. I think that's kind of what shifted because in 2020, that person, ended up getting in a relationship. And you can't fault a person for that because, you never want to hold somebody back from their happiness and stuff, even if, like, it hurts you or whatever. And for me, it's like, okay, if you can't, commit or whatever, you can't just keep stringing this person on along or keep them waiting and stuff. But the person ended up being in a relationship, and it kind of hurt it, broke me, because dealing with stuff I was dealing with prior and stuff, and a lot of other stuff, and then that happened, kind of like took a toll. And so, remember, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was losing weight, and waking up at like 4 o'clock in one morning, tossing and turning all night. And I just wrote, but I couldn't get past like the first line. And so I ended up loading up a track, loading up a beat, and just going. And so that's how I got Pain. And Pain was a song that was never supposed to be released. My intent was never to release Pain. It was just, okay, I'm gonna be raw with this, go in there and just, get stuff off my chest of how I felt. So when I made Pain, that was like one morning and stuff, and so I ended up putting it out. I don't know what made me put it out. I think I had talked to a homeboy of mine or something, and I putting it out, and I got a good response back from it, surprisingly. At the time, that became like my top songs and stuff. So I was like, oh wow. And so in that instance, she kind of opened me up to be more vulnerable in my music, more, and show more emotion that, okay, maybe it's alright. Because for so long I was just closed out, I wouldn't show that emotion. And so Pain was the first song that made me show emotion. I mean, me and her, we good, like we straight, like nothing but love for her. Like, who knows what the future holds, but yeah. I always got love for her. Like, she's somebody special, like. But in that instance, it allowed me to create a song like Pain or a song like Complicated Love, which pure off emotion. And those two are my biggest songs that I have out. And with Complicated Love, it was being, when I wrote that song, I had a show, and I came back, and after conversation, it's like, okay, this is what it is, type thing. And so I remember I was going to a celebrity birthday party the next day and just listening to the beat and stuff and just trying to come up with stuff. And then it didn't get finished till I was sitting at my desk. It was just pure emotion of just how I felt. And it went on to be my biggest song yet, But I think a lot of things that played a role was like the quality of the songs and stuff like that. Because, yeah, what was intended to be this didn't turn out to this, because those songs were never intended to be released. So those songs were sent out to be mixed and mastered. They was never like, okay, this is, my engineers mixed and mastering this. No, this is sent out, mixed, mastered, and came back. Just came out. So basically it's like raw. And so the quality, I think if the quality was better, the songs would have been better. So going in, to 2022, hopefully, gonna pray that everything works out great. But, it's all in God's hands. And so new music, definitely this year. New music, hopefully a project. And hopefully, new sound, new tones, new, just exploring new options, the way to be different. Because as artists, there's only so many ways you can, sing about love or sing about this before you get tired. And so it's always good to try to find new ways. And as a songwriter, you try to explore new options, new routes and stuff. So hopefully new music, with different, but still that same old Mookie. I have the Infinite Company this year that's launching. This is part of Infinite Media, a media company that started June. I have merch dropping, exclusive merch, limited edition, in honor of Juneteenth and Black Music Month. So got that dropping in fall of this year. A lot of people have already asked me, but Talking That Talk podcast will return. So I'm excited about that. I'm just excited, just be doing different things and seeing what this year has to bring. Cause it's always fun when you can always go back to doing what you love and always have a passion. Like, yeah, I might do the podcast, but music is where it's at. Music music is the universal language that everybody understands. So if I can write a song or make a song and people connect to it and sing to it and sing the lyrics that you wrote, it's always special because no matter where you go, people understand music. So I'm forever grateful for all those who have supported me throughout the years, all those who stood by me, even when I first started with the movement, you know, with Best of the Best. Those who supported me throughout the years, I'm forever grateful. And those who still stick by me, you know, it's forever love. And I love each and every one of you. So thank you for tuning in to an episode of Behind the Mic. It's your boy FYB.
Like I'm supposed to, grinding, I'm getting it. Told my niggas stay down, cause we gon' make it. So many fake niggas around, I just can't take it. You know I'm all about the money, I'm gon' always secure the bag. And if my niggas need it, they ain't never gotta ask. Them same niggas I'm eating with, be the same niggas I'm keeping with. Same niggas I'm riding with, are the same niggas I'm shining with. I never change, never change. Gonna always remain the same.